In this Wing Chun conversation, we'll be taking a brief look at the Avia S-199. As the Second World War came to an end, the Czech company Avia was tasked with producing the Messerschmitt BF-109 G6 and G40 models. As the war ended, however, Czechoslovakia was stuck with a large stock of BF-109 airframes. Seeing this stock, the Avia company decided to build a few BF-109s, producing a total of at least 21 aircraft designated as the C-10, used with the Czech National Air Guard under the designation of S-99. Avia also produced 23 training versions of the aircraft designated as the CS-99. The aircraft was relatively similar to the wartime BF-109s. The later models lacked the tried and tested Daimler-Benz DB605 engine, as Avia didn't have a large stock of these engines. Instead of this engine, Avia went for the inferior Junkers Jumo 211F V12 inline engine, which was widely available. This resulted in the designation of S-199. The S-199 first flew in March of 1947, almost 3 years after the end of the war in Europe. In February of 1948, the Czechoslovakia Air Force received its first S-199. If you think the aircraft might fly quite similar to the BF-109, you'd be dead wrong. The aircraft wasn't a great success, due to the new Jumo engine severely limiting its handling, this being exactly what made the BF-109 such a good aircraft. Not only this, but the synchronizing gears for the cowl guns had the tendency to not synchronize, thus allowing the pilot a free kill as he shot off his own propeller. With these minor issues, the aircraft was kept in service, as it allowed the Czech airmen to fly and gave the factory workers a job. From the stock of aircraft, some were transformed into trainer aircraft designated as the SC-199 for armed trainer aircraft and the C-210 for the unarmed version. The D-199 was a reconnaissance aircraft based on the S-199. So now, how did a country such as Israel get the S-199? Czechoslovakia had earlier voted in favor of a Jewish state and pledged to support Israel. After some communists decided that it was about time for Czechoslovakia to become a satellite state of the Soviet Union and successfully overthrew the government, the aid to Israel temporarily increased. And in the same year that the aircraft first flew, Czechoslovakia sold 25 S-199s to Israel and helped form the Israeli Air Force. While this all seems very nice, the good folks over in Czechoslovakia made the Israelis pay $180,000 per aircraft, including armament, ammunition, spare parts, pilot training and support equipment. This might not seem too bad, but compared to this, a far superior P-51D Mustang sold second-hand for just $4,000. Due to the embargoes placed on Israel, though, the country had no other choice but to purchase the S-199, as it desperately needed aircraft. The Prime Minister of Israel himself gave the order to buy the aircraft, and paid up $4.5 million for 25 downgraded BF-109s. In May of 1948, 10 Israeli Air Force pilots left for Czechoslovakia. The first one to fly the aircraft was the American Marine Corps pilot Lou Leonard. As soon as he gained speed, his aircraft started to yaw to the left due to the large propeller. He could likely not control this yaw. As all Israeli pilots flew the aircraft, the first feedback came in, and none of it was positive. I've got a small list with a few complaints. The landing gear was too narrow and the propeller too large, making the aircraft unstable during takeoff. The aircraft didn't like to be told what to do and was quite hard to handle. The cockpit was cramped and the canopy was hard to open. It wasn't for no reason that the aircraft was nicknamed the S-199 Mezek, or Mule, by its Czech pilots after all. Only 4 days after their training started, a few of the pilots were called back to Israel, and in the end, out of all the trainees, only 5 volunteers with prior flying experience during the Second World War qualified to fly in the S-199. Then finally though, the first S-199s were disassembled and loaded into C-54 Skymaster transport aircraft. The first S-199s arrived in Israel on May 20th, 1948, together with the 5 pilots that had completed the training. The Avia S-199 did see some action, first taking off for a combat mission on the 29th of May in 1948. The Egyptian army between Isud and Et Halom Bridge, south of Tel Aviv. The aircraft went on to shoot down multiple enemy aircraft before it was decided that the aircraft was so unreliable it had to be withheld from service in October of 1948, although 6 S-199s saw action well into December of the same year. A total amount of 599 S-199s were produced, and 3 still survive today. 2 can be found in the Czech Republic in the Kbely Aviation Museum and the Prague Aviation Museum, both in Kbely, Prague. The final survivor can be found in Israel at the Israeli Air Force Museum at the Hatzerim Israeli Air Force Base in the Southern District. Now let's take a look at this Israeli Czech German aircraft in War Thunder. In War Thunder, the S-199 can be found in the Israeli tech tree, with the Israeli tech tree being the only one that starts at 3.3. This is the first aircraft a player can buy for this nation. The S-199 was added in December of 2021 with the Winged Lions update. It has a maximum speed of 590 km an hour and a max altitude of 9,000 meters. The S-199 is armed with either two 13mm machine guns with 500 bullets in total and two 7.92mm machine guns with a total of 600 bullets, or two 13mm machine guns with again 500 bullets and two 20mm cannons with 270 bullets. After modifications, the S-199 can be armed with either 4 70kg bombs, 4 50kg SD-50 bombs, or 4 50kg SC-50JA bombs. Now let's take a slightly close look at its performance in battle. In battle, the S-199 can't be used effectively. Okay, just kidding. Well, not really, because this aircraft is one of the worst flying experience I've ever had in this game. At its battle rating, the S-199 faces far superior aircraft, like the actual BF-109. But what makes this aircraft so terrible? Well, just like with the real thing, the aircraft is equipped with the Jumo engine, making it lack any ability to either make maneuvers, fight effectively in turn fights, and climb with sufficient speed. Additionally, the engine overheats quite quickly compared to the regular BF-109s. I wouldn't recommend anyone play this, or the Israeli tech tree in general, as it's just not very good, and most aircraft in the tech tree are just reused and can be found in any other tech tree, but that's just my opinion and yours may differ from mine. Either way, thank you very much for watching this episode of Winged Vehicle Conversations. If you enjoyed it, a like would be greatly appreciated. If you didn't enjoy it, feel free to either give me feedback or try to insult me. This has been Winged Vehicle Conversations, I've been me, and I'll see you some other time.